Hello, welcome to the Automated Tester. I'm your host, Jonathan Rasmussen. In this video, we're going to take a quick look at the user interface test, what it is, how it works, along with how and when we typically write them on our projects. But let's start by first taking a look at what the UI test is. UI test tests that the application is working from a user's point of view. For example, here's a login page. And to log in, we'd simply type in the user's name, password, click sign in, and then poof, we're in. A UI test is exactly the same thing, only does it in the form of a test. Just like a regular user, first we have to navigate to our web page, enter our username, enter our password, hit sign in, and then verify that we got directed to the appropriate page afterwards. And that's it. That's all there is to a UI test. It's a script that mimics the interactions of our users, captures those interactions in the form of a test, and then plays those interactions back, making assertions along the way. Looks easy, right? It is. But to really get UI testing, it helps to know a few more things about how these automated testing frameworks work. Specifically, how they grab and interact with our page elements that we want to automate. So let's dig a little bit deeper and see what these UI testing frameworks are doing behind the scenes. Now, the first thing you may have noticed is we skipped these two lines in our automated test. These are the lines that are responsible for grabbing the username and password text fields in our login page. Now, there are lots of ways to go about grabbing page elements, but the one I find most useful across pretty much all of the testing frameworks is CSS. CSS, or more specifically CSS selectors, are snippets of code that give us a way to tell our testing frameworks which elements on the web page we like to interact with. Web designers use CSS all the time to style our web pages and give us the overall look and feel of our websites. But they also have the unique ability to grab page elements, which our testing frameworks can then interact with. In this case, we can grab the username and password text field by their unique IDs, our sign-in button by its class name, and then once we've got our page elements, we can interact with them and make assertions about what we see on the screen. Like I said, there's lots of ways to grab page elements, but at the end of the day, they all rely on some combination of HTML and CSS. So these are some technologies you're definitely going to want to learn more about. Now that you understand the basics, you may be wondering when we should write these things. And the answer may surprise you. It isn't all the time. You see, while UI tests are great for testing the entire system end to end, they're also the slowest, most fragile form of automated test we've got. Don't get me wrong, they're invaluable for ensuring that all of our dots are connected and everything works end to end. But they're also slow because it takes time to spin up browsers, talk to backend databases, and wait for pages to load. They also tend to be fragile because as soon as you change your user interface, you often also need to change your test. So we don't like to write UI tests for everything. We have other tests that we'll look at later, specifically integration and unit tests, that are more suitable for testing low-level functionality in our systems. But when it comes to ensuring that things are up and running, that something is going to work end-to-end, the UI test is a great tool. And that's why we save it for those really important high-level smoke tests to make sure everything is up and running and working. And that's it. That's the UI test in a nutshell. Mimicking user interactions, grabbing page elements by CSS or their XPath selectors, and then making assertions on them in the form of a test. I hope that helps. Good luck with writing your UI tests, and until next time, happy testing.